the show tonight. So once again, we believe ourselves. October 19th, Monroeville. Our boy already showed up. You got the guts to show up?
Review, but we are the same old hosts, but this is our new season. I'm Renee Detour from the Tribune Review.
I'm Brian Krasman from the Daily News.
I'm Jim DeBrizzo, and I'm the most hated man on the internet.
And for some reason, I'm sitting next
Oh
to
my
the
God.
man on the internet.
What the hell are you doing over here, man?
I don't know. I just
You
wanted
guys gonna
up
shake
there.
hands? That's why we put you together.
Hey, how you doing?
It's the first time ever.
Yeah, Tom, right?
Yeah, no, Bill.
Either way.
So,
Yeah, here we are, new season.
new season, same old host, like I said before. We're going to talk a little bit tonight about some of the events that happened on Raw. Obviously a big show, the only show. We're also going to talk a little bit about Tough Enough. I know it was the last episode that we've been waiting for, and we're going to discuss a little bit about some of the people that were selected as winners and losers. And what else we have there?
Well,
Pirate.
as I mentioned earlier, we have some viewer mail, some people obviously taking issue with me and my contributions to the show on the website. And eventually, over the next couple weeks, I'm sure we'll read them all, because God knows people need a reason to hate me.
I know I look for one.
Here's about 100.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
All this.
I think the other thing we need to point out, Jim, is you and I had an interesting adventure last Saturday night, a week from the night that people will be watching this program, down at the IWC show. And
That's the most complicated time reference I think I've ever heard.
yeah, well, hey,
Except for Tom's, we'll be back in 2 weeks for the movie show.
that's right.
I wasn't cued in.
But we've got some footage from that because ironically enough, we smuggled our cameras in again, and we're going to show you some of that as this show progresses.
Yeah, it was interesting, to say the least.
So let's get to Raw here and kind of regroup.
We'll be right back.
Do we have to?
Well, I really don't want to, but you know, it happened last Monday, so I guess we have to talk about it.
All right.
The Where is Steve Austin caper continued, and this time it was via fax, which was very nice and very annoying, as Paul Heyman read faxes from Stone Cold. I'm not going to say anything really about this Raw, but I'll let you guys just dive right into it and talk about how great it was.
It was so good that halfway through I decided it ain't worth it, I'm going to get a shower. So I missed part of the show. And actually the 49ers and the Jets had a pretty entertaining game Monday night, 1917 49ers, ending that
Oh,
New
you
Year.
mean to tell me that they almost came back and won, the Jets?
They almost came back and won.
I
Very
was
close toward the end. Curtis
I was
Martin.
watching that, by the way, and as Raw was pretty boring, actually.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it was. I don't know what to make of this Austin thing. I don't know how long they're planning to keep him out, or if he's even injured to keep him out. But
I don't think the writers
do
had anything
you
to
think
do
it
with
matters? I mean, it looks like now he's going to be in a feud with William Regal.
What?
I think they can go that direction.
Wait a minute.
Where did that come from?
What happened to the Rob Van Dam thing that it seemed like it was so obvious they were going to?
Guess not right away. I don't know. I don't write this stuff.
Well, apparently not.
Well, that's exactly
But no,
my
I'm just
point.
saying there's a possibility now. If you want to bring Austin back, you know, they tease the little tension between himself and William Regal. Through
Why?
facts.
Because he bashed Paul Heyman's head off the
Yeah,
fax
sure. Who cares? Just get him in the ring. It'll be a good match.
I don't think that's what they were going for, but you know.
Then what were they going for? Oh, Mr. Know Everything. No, seriously. I mean, seriously. I
Talk
would
about
think in
being
my
caught in a
mind.
crossfire.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that would lead to a possibility of that. But what was the point for it then? If
Just for the hell of it.
okay.
Here they were just. I don't think there was anything. I mean, the whole show existed in a vacuum, and so did that segment. And
Well, I'm just saying though, it's a if they bring Austin in to feud with Regal, and well, I won't be sitting there saying, well, how'd they come to this point? And now they have a building block.
all right, that's fine. William Regal, Steve Austin. Look for it this fall. Epic feud, saving.
What, like
WWF
J.C.
ratings.
Penney's?
I don't know. I guess so.
It'll be a good feud.
Speaking of Regal, I guess we learned what happens when you stiff him.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
Lance Storm did, because he got stretched and it was legit. So
We know that for a fact that it was.
yeah. If you notice Lance Storm, whenever he put him in the Regal stretch, Lance Storm was looking at Regal's chest, and that would be physically impossible considering his face is forward when he applies the stretch. But it was pretty ugly.
Probably a little painful too.
Tom, you look restless over there.
Tom,
No, I have a copy of Hygiene Hijinks, whatever the hell it's called. I'm just sitting over here reading it. It's a wonderful read by a man who has no front teeth and shaves his own head because he wants to avoid the barber costs. But
What's that, $3 now?
It's in the bargain bin, actually. At your nearest Walden's, Barnes & Nobles, Eckert, whatnot.
This has been Pro Wrestling Review's product review. Thank you.
Eckert?
I noticed Jim's confiscated the book.
That's an interesting point you bring up about William Regal, though, because there was a time in WCW when he wrestled Goldberg,
Yes.
and they went out and basically said Goldberg was going to squash him, and Regal had a problem with that.
Yeah.
And what you saw was the biggest train wreck of a match of all time, because Regal didn't want it that way, and he kind of stretched Goldberg a little bit and didn't go really along with plans. So I don't know why Regal did it. I don't know if he was authorized to do it. I don't know if he'll be punished because of doing it. But
You mean the Lance Storm right now?
yeah,
In this case? I don't think so. I mean, I think maybe Regal went, I don't want to say too far. I mean, going too far would be keeping him in the stretch for another 5 minutes.
Well, apparently, for at least from what I understood, is backstage they talked about it, and Storm kind of understood that he screwed up and deserved what he got.
I'm gonna take a guess and say it was on one of the drop kicks.
I think so.
Okay, I mean, yeah, there's nothing wrong. I mean, the unwritten rule is, yeah, if someone's stiff shoe, just tag him and let him know. But I don't know if putting him in the stretch was the right way to do it.
Well, he's bleeding down his chest. I mean, there's comes a
And
time.
then you
and a
tag him in
place.
the face for real.
well,
You
one
don't
of
put
the
him in
other
a stretch and do some damage to his back.
We're supposed to be practicing tolerance now in this country. We're talking about, somebody stiffs you the drop kick. It's perfectly okay to stretch him.
Well, if we can move away from Lance Storm's follies here, and whether that be his underwear or his flying drop kicks, we wanted to talk too a little bit about the six-man tag. I guess that was the main event. They announced it on Heat.
And it happened at 9:40 or something like that?
Yeah, they kind of breezed over, and that's one of the problems that the WWF's been having right now, is that they kind of just breeze past stuff, and they're just throwing matches out there for just the sake of having guys on TV. There's no direction.
I know, and it's the same guys every week.
Well, yeah, that, and I mean, if you even look at some of their title belts, there's a lot of them, and we've talked about that on the show before, and they really don't mean anything anymore.
It seemed like they were going to merging most of the belts. I think Xbox is the only one right now has the both belts in that particular weight class. Like US obviously equals the Intercontinental.
Yeah, and he hasn't defended it since March. But
Well, there's probably a reason for that, which I'm sure we'll get into later.
Well, that's something I even approached on my column on the webpage this past week, is the WCW problem, which is great. But that's one of the issues is that there's so many title belts, and it's like for a while they used the U.S. title, and then for a while they used the light heavyweight title, and that's a problem because if WCW is ever going to branch off into its own thing, those belts need to be firmly established, and they've got a pretty good U.S. champ right now, and I actually don't mind the tag champs. I think Booker T Test is a decent idea, but now it's just where they go from here, because in January, February they break away.
I was thinking along the lines of keeping the belts together until maybe a month or two, which actually we're almost there now, till WCW was absolutely ready to go on their own TV show. I don't know if you're going to see that now, but obviously it's screwed up to begin with.
Yeah. One of the points too is it's not like there's not enough guys to showcase these titles, but it just seems like the WWF doesn't really have a lot of direction right now. And I mean, you can make a case for whether or not they even know what they're doing at all or what direction they want to go. So we made the point earlier, Steve Austin being kept off TV, do they even know what they want to do with him when he comes back?
Yeah.
We talked about that. So we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit about Tough Enough. We crowned a men's champion and a women's champion this past week, so come back.
For some strange reason, I really don't know how I got here.
You've been teleported like in Spaceballs.
Or Star Trek.
We went. Unfortunately, I think Brian's been beaten to a bloody pulp, but I really don't think so.
Is that what happens when you go off
That's
stage?
No, that's a rumor going around with the fact people back there. The fact checkers and everything like that. The runners, we call them. Because we know nothing, absolutely nothing about wrestling, as you people know out there. You watch the show every week. We know nothing. These fact checkers know everything. And I think Brian's
feeding
back
us
there
lines
giving
now.
them what for?
Yeah.
Feeding.
Slapping them around.
They have little cue cards.
See, teleprompter right here, man. No more
You
cue
have a
cards for
porno
us.
website up on your laptop.
That's why it's not facing the camera there, Tom.
Sorry.
Skin Flick 9.
Yeah, .xxx.
Okay, anyway, speaking of triple X or X-rated for that matter, Tough Enough ended this past Thursday. I don't know the segue.
Well, they're going on with a Tough Enough too, so I guess they were happy with ratings and how it went out.
But the difference between this Tough Enough and Tough Enough 2 was that now they're letting people with indie experience come in and wrestle, which I think is definitely going to hurt this show.
You think it's going to hurt?
Oh yeah, I think Tough Enough 2, if you let guys, if someone gets picked of the 13 that have this indie experience, I think that's really going to hurt the show, because the whole idea is learning everything from ground zero till...
Yeah.
Okay, you may have a point there.
Yeah.
But I think maybe they want to go that direction because maybe some of the complaints we had on this show as well, not enough time in the ring. Maybe they're going to put people in with more experience. They are going to show on the show more time in the ring, more of the learning process. But as you said, maybe if they already know so much.
Yeah, it's kind of diluting the field.
Well, hopefully Tough Enough 2 would advance further than the first one did. And I said this probably the third week Tough Enough was on the air. The people that they picked, maybe it was the fourth week, the people they picked, half of them quit. I mean, it's easy to say half of them quit.
I think that's the point of the show.
But the point is, they could have made some better selections. I believe why Michael Cole was on the panel and the other guy, what's his name?
Kevin Kelly?
The manager. The coach, I'm sorry. Him, I don't know. He was there for the free food, obviously. Why they pick certain people.
But you also had Taz, Al Snow, Jackie. Yeah, I think Mick Foley was there as well. I mean,
here's the thing, though. In 30 seconds, if they take their shirt off, if they're a guy, if they take their shirt off, and a girl, show the body, maybe, what the hell, cut a promo. In 30 seconds, can you get a real feel for a person if they're a great athlete, a great worker, a great speaker?
I think it was more than 30
Absolutely
seconds.
not.
They
gave him like a minute to
That's
talk.
part of the spontaneity of the show, though, I think.
But the thing is, in the long run,
some of the physical tests, you saw people were tripping over their own damn feet.
But in
I think that is
retrospect,
telling.
some of the candidates probably would have been better cut out rather than the girl who just wanted to be in Playboy. Why she was picked, I know
that
why
one
she
I
was
did have a
picked.
problem with from the start. And there were, I think they showed two other women during their tryouts that I thought had a world of personality more than she did.
She's got. I'm not going to do it.
Are you going to sing High Hopes?
But no, I think that's the point. Now, they had this girl come in who her goal in life is to be in Playboy, thinking, hey, this is just wrestling. This will give me my step ladder to Playboy. She quits in 2 weeks. That's the point.
Well, that's
I don't agree. I don't agree with the decision putting her in there, but.
Well, I'm getting chimed in here. I believe Brian has returned from the fact checkers. Brian, what did the runners have to say?
They've been. I can't talk about it right now.
Is that blood on your hand?
You know, just to add a little bit more negativity. I don't know. It's probably just me because it seems like everybody in the world loved this show. I thought Tough Enough was a waste of time. I don't know. Maven has so much charisma.
He has the eyebrows of Eugene Levy. Did you ever notice that?
He's got eyebrows that could scare young children. But I don't know. I thought it was a pointless. Well, it wasn't pointless, but I found no interest in. I'm Tough Enough too. I'll be watching Nick at Night. So.
What's really going to hurt the
Different
show?
Strokes,
to talk
Cheers,
about it.
Family Ties. I don't blame you.
Cheers is a great show.
Well, after we quit bashing the actual format of Tough Enough, we should point out that obviously Brian mentioned Maven was the men's champion and Nydia, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, which I don't care if I'm not, was the women's champion. And, you know, I don't know if you guys watched the last show, but I think Nydia being picked over Taylor was kind of a
farce. It
was an interesting pick, and I'm not sure where they got that one from, actually.
Well, watching the shows, I haven't, maybe the last 2 or 3 weeks I've missed, but I one or the other. I mean, they were both okay, but.
Well, that's the idea, one or the other.
No, I mean, you can either one or the other. Neither one was better than the other. That's the point.
Notwithstanding the two people that they actually picked, I'd like to point out there's people on the roster, that pesky Jerry Lynn and maybe even a pesky Al Snow or a Taz, that don't wrestle anymore, but they give two kids a woman, which they have absolutely no women's division anymore whatsoever, because the woman who was the champion is now on Xena Part 5, filming that episode on the planet Mars. I'm referring to none other than China, obviously.
Who?
The point is, there's more deserving people they have on their roster right now, and to give two people with no experience whatsoever and maybe a tad of charisma, maybe a little bit of a look, a contract, it's blasphemous.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the point of the show. I mean,
But
why
the
do
thing
the
is,
show if you're not going to give them a contract?
Okay, maybe the Simpsons will have it tough enough where I can go into a nuclear reactor and play around with the buttons. Give me the nuclear reactor job. I can make 100 G's a year.
Well,
I have no experience.
I don't think either one of these, I guess, kids are going to make it. And we'll see them in Ohio Valley in a week.
Well, you know, that's the thing. Maven, as of this taping, obviously SmackDown has not aired, so we don't know what happened. But from what we heard on Raw, Maven was scheduled to wrestle Taz, and that match has already happened. So we really can't comment on it, but we can comment on the actual vignette, I guess you could call it, from this past Monday with Taz choking out Maven.
I think you should have held him in longer.
What's that?
I think you should have held him in longer.
Well, no, the thing is, I kind of question them having Maven against Taz on SmackDown. I mean, obviously this is a ratings ploy. I mean, it's gotten to this point now with the WWF that they're throwing out Maven in the main event against one of their better, I guess you could say better workers who, on Raw, and thank you for pointing this out to me, Tom, on Raw, wrestled a match, then was there to do an interview. I mean, he's just so multifaceted. It's just unbelievable.
The talent of that little man, I tell you.
Little man.
That little orange fella.
Are we black and white?
Yes, we are, and I'm going to shut up right now. But we're going to come back, and we're going to do some viewer mail, so please stay with us.
It may be a different backdrop and maybe different people, but it's still the same show.
Different people?
Different staff.
Well, I mean, different combination.
Oh, I understand you.
Anyway, we have some viewer mail from some of the folks out there in TV land, and not the actual network, but anyway.
Chico and the man.
That's right. Jim, why don't you start us off with a letter from George Jefferson?
We're moving on. No, I'm going to start off with some responses from, I think, Rennie's page on the website. I think part of it was some of your on the website. Boy, I haven't been real popular this week. And
Sure.
one is, thanks, Tom. Does Jim the Bruiser ever do a new commentary? That's one. Here's another one. Does Jim do anything for the website or the show? He doesn't care to update his site. What's his problem? Is he too big for the show or his own mind? Please make something else out of his page. Give it to someone more willing to contribute. And my personal favorite from our old friend NPC, wouldn't it be great if Jim did something for the site or the show? Look, people, I'm very busy, all right?
Jim watches a lot of movies, all right? He's very busy.
But let's put it, the last update I did before this week was on Tough Enough. I kept it up until Tough Enough was over for a reason. Let's everybody calm down, okay? And NPC, this jackass, he can't put up.
Come on now.
No, he can't.
He's
No,
American. Let him go.
He can't put any kind of post on the site of us making gay references about one of us. Finally, he puts up something marginally intelligent. My job is done here.
That's right.
Freaking moron.
Oh my gosh.
I'm done.
That passed the censors, or the first one didn't.
Yeah, I know. I just lost what I was going to read. Why don't you go ahead with yours, Tom?
Oh, thank you.
Oh, do you want me
I
to wait?
had minutes to prep. No, I should be
okay.
okay. This is from someone who I can't really pronounce what the hell it is. It's an email address, so it's a couple weeks old. But I'd like to compliment us on the show. Good show. Thank you once again. He says wrestling something about the effect of it not surviving without a second promotion, and it also states that, like me, he has lost his smile. I agree with you. My smile's been gone for weeks. And I believe wrestling does need a second promotion to survive. If something's on WWF you don't like, not to your liking, you switch over. You can't switch over to anything anymore. And he asks about MECW, which I don't even know if it's still alive or kicking right now.
It's alive,
people
but being
not
kicked.
Being kicked. People like Buff Bagwell who refuse to fly on the planes, and well, not so much on the planes, unless it's first class, unless he has the lobster Soganoff, whatever the hell he likes to eat, and his mother gets limo transportation. This is the problem with MECW. Too many egos, not enough money. And he asks about Hogan's promotion, which we have, I believe Rennie's going to rant on this, but I'm going to steal his thunder anyway. Hogan's promotion, Universal, has been signed, I believe. There is going to be a new promotion. But here's the kicker. Hulk Hogan's not involved. Believe it or not, and you not, the two people leading it up are Jimmy Hart, who on this show is a great target, and some explicitives that I might have said, and Brian Knobbs. Jimmy Hart and Brian Knobbs leading a promotion.
I hope it succeeds beyond anyone's wildest dreams.
If the term "get you over a barrel" has any implications in this case, literally or figuratively, you understand what I'm trying to go at. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, actually, Rennie's got an interesting one over there. I'll save mine. We were kind of chuckling.
you're gonna let me go first.
Yeah, we were kind of chuckling over this one.
Even though Tom horribly stole my thunder on the Jimmy Hart Brian Knobbs fiasco.
Yeah.
Hey, you're running with them runners back there. I don't want to hear any crap.
I slapped one up. Never mind. Anyway, we have a letter about our dear friend Hank Hudson, and anybody who's watched this show knows that he loves us as much as we love him. But the man who drives a Honda Accord, actually, someone wrote a letter about him. So here goes. Back in 1996, the heyday of Pittsburgh Indies. Stop laughing, Jim. I was coming. I can see you. They can't. I was coming up for the show with one of my friends. We saw the great Hank Hudson. I think "great" is in quotes here, by the way. Getting into his car. So we approached him for an autograph. He said no, and we went into his car, and we asked him again. He said no. Finally, we decided to be nice and ask him really nice. Hank looks down at his watch, looks up at my friend, and says, I quote, "F off." Hank then drove away. I guess he doesn't like Pittsburghers. Either that or the prostitute was being paid by the hour.
Oh,
These aren't our words, Hank, so settle down.
Man.
I don't know, guys. I guess we can say that Hank Hudson can't be bothered to give, I think I called him Hank Hudson. Hank Hudson can't be bothered to give autographs, so he's too big of a star. He's in Mick Foley's book, not the one you see
People
on the
say I have
table.
ego problems when it comes to the
Yeah.
website. Man, I tell you.
Hey, they don't see you when these cameras go off.
Sorry, Hank. We had to read it.
I
It's
get-
part of our duty as wrestling journalists.
I guess I'll give Hank the credit that he actually admitted that he hates our show. So,
But we still love him.
Yes, well, I give him credit for being honest. On my page this past week, I had something up about what WCW can do once it launches into its own company to, I don't know, not be awful. Because it sure doesn't look like that they've taken very many steps to really solidify this company. But I was saying that one of the suggestions I made was they can start incorporating some of the younger talent that's sort of like in Ohio Valley right now and different places like that. And I think I said like Evan Courageous, Shannon Moore. And personally, I guess this person, EM from Bethel Park, where we are just hated,
Why?
took issue, I don't know, took issue with me for mentioning David Flair. Now, let me just clarify what I was saying. I wasn't saying let's put Dave Flair over on Steve Austin. What I was saying was Dave Flair is one of the people who's in the developmental group, And granted, WCW pushed him way, 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 way too fast and too far. But Flair, from time to time, showed some personality. He's got to learn how to wrestle, and he's got to learn how to become a more full character, plus he needs to beef up. I was just saying, in the future, one day, possibly David Flair, I wasn't saying, like, no, forget Kevin Nash. Actually, forget Kevin Nash. But, Dave Flair, no, that's not it. But this EMS, if I was insane, and, from time to time. But this person brings up, Nash will get ratings, as will Goldberg, Jeff Jarrett, Sting, right? Because they pretty much blew the ratings through the roof for TNT. And the thing about bringing Big Papa Pump back. But the other point that this EMX is, as talentless as they are, how about having the two winners from MTV's Tough Enough turn on the WWF and join with Stephanie and Shane? I just don't think that's going to have any impact. I mean, granted, a lot of people did watch Tough Enough, but those characters really aren't established on WWF television themselves, so them turning really will be a blip on the radar. Thanks for the response and very well thought out. I just don't know that that's a really good idea. But
Well, we can go on for hours.
we could.
Hours.
We're gonna come back. I don't know what we're gonna do. I think we're gonna do rants.
Hank.
We're gonna do rants, and don't forget at the end of the show, we're gonna show the footage from last week's IWC show where Jim and I hurt a former PWR viewer, but we're going to come back after this. Because we can handle trivia, even without
We're very trivial.
Yes, even without our colleagues. So this week we do have a winner, Jim, and why don't you read his name?
Shall I read the questions as well? In case anyone
Sure, hell.
This week's winner is David Holsinger. I'm probably not pronouncing it right, so I apologize.
It was David we had disqualified a couple weeks ago, and
That's right.
that's okay. But he wins. See, that's what I'm saying. It's all in good fun around here.
Question 1 from last week. Where was WrestleMania 7 supposed to take place? LA Coliseum. Question 2. Who replaced the Ultimate Warrior at the 1992 Survivor Series? You got a hint with that one, which probably shouldn't have done. Mr. Perfect was the answer. Question 3. What was the opening match at the 1991 Survivor Series? Ric Flair, the Mountie, Ted DiBiase, and the Warlord. Wow, really? The Warlord?
Yes.
Versus Roddy Piper, Bret Hart, Virgil, and the British Bulldog. Wow, has wrestling changed? Yeah. And question number 4, which was on the show last week. Who did Triple H wrestle in the 1995 SummerSlam at the Civic Arena? Bob, Sparkplug Holly, and boy, their careers went opposite directions, didn't they?
Yeah.
So,
Well, congratulations, David. You're very lucky. What you win for getting all those questions right is a free pizza from Original Pizza Works in Dravosburg, and along with that, you can get an order of chicken wings and a 2-liter bottle of carbonated beverage. And like I say every week on this show, the shill that I am, it's great pizza. Eat it all the time. But this week's question is this. The original members of Degeneration X, please name them for us. Please listen to the question. The original members of Degeneration X, please name them for us. That question there, answer the 3 on the website. That's www.prowrestlingreview.com. And if you could be just as lucky as David Holsinger,
who mere weeks ago was banished almost from trivia.
Yeah, then hell, you could just be lucky too. So please answer the questions and tune into the show next week and find out if you won. Let it go.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Review.
Okay, just go. Keep it going.
It's rant time, and we're going to cut to Rennie in the more opulent studio. And Rennie, take it away.
Yeah, this is actually the, I didn't want to spoil this for any of our viewers, but this is actually the set where Conan O'Brien does his show, so,
There he is.
There he
But anyway, yes, thank you so much. I'm going to start rants out this week, so bear with me. This past week, there was a report that Goldberg and Rick Steiner visited Ground Zero, I guess you can call it, where the Twin Towers, all the rubble, people were still cleaning up. And Goldberg and I guess Rick Steiner went down there to sign autographs, which I thought was a pretty admirable thing to do. I mean, Goldberg still is, for the most part, a pretty big star, pretty recognizable. But one thing Goldberg said, and this was completely out of the blue, he said, actually bashed the WWF for not doing anything for this tragedy, being that the WWF New York is right in the backyard when this happened. And I just don't know where Goldberg comes off going after the WWF. They really never did anything to him, unless you count Triple H ripping on him on WWF TV a few years ago. But why on earth would you say something like that in a time like this when you should be focusing on the good, giving out autographs, signing T-shirts, doing whatever, even though you brought that piece of garbage Rick Steiner with you. All that aside, I just think that Goldberg was way out of line saying what he did. I mean, and from what I've been told, the WWF offered WWF New York as a place where some of the rescue workers and other people helping out could go get something to eat, just stay there for a while. They were giving out, I know, T-shirts. They needed clothing, some of the rescue workers. So, I think Goldberg just needs to get his facts straight and take away the fact that, maybe he's bitter towards the WWF. Maybe he's mad because one of the other things he said, too, was the WWF won't sign me, so I might as well go after them. And even though it's been, reported that Time Warner, he has a 7-year contract with them, so he couldn't be signed anyway unless he forgot about that money and just, went out and asked the WWF for a contract. So the point of this is that I just think Goldberg, think about what you're saying before you say it, especially in a time like now.
We're back in Studio A.
Studio A. There's a lot of bad things that happened Monday night on Raw, but one thing I think might be a recipe for disaster is what happened between Christian, X-Pac, and Albert. You've been pushing Christian to the moon, well, okay, not to the moon, but you've been pushing him pretty well. He's been responding pretty well. The crowd heat's there. You cannot put him with X-Pac. I mean, X-Pac is an anchor right now. The visible and audible crowd reaction that he didn't get when he came out, for me, absolutely killed everything Christian did. I don't know if they're trying to rebuild X Factor with Christian as the lead. It wouldn't be a bad idea putting him maybe with Albert, because Albert actually is competent. But X-Pac is just worthless. I mean, for 3 years now, well, he has to be motivated. He has to do this. He has to be a good worker. You know what? He's got his chance. He's had numerous chances. He had X Factor. As the light heavyweight champion, cruiserweight champion, he's gotten some time in the past couple weeks. X-Pac is the most overrated wrestler in wrestling today. Time to pull the plug on him.
Well, sticking on that Monday night thing, there was nothing really I can say good about Monday night that I can think of. And we talked about this off camera a little bit, and I think it needs to be addressed on camera, is that WWF is like in disarray right now. This reminds me of post-WrestleMania from this year, when it was like you'd watch the show and just like, oh, it's the same guys every week, the same guys are fighting every week. I mean, the Dudleys against The Rock in a handicap match. I mean, give me a break. I can handle Kurt Angle, Shane McMahon, but the ending was so anticlimactic. It is really time to start shaking up the roster, and the problem now is with who? I mean, you tried the Chris Jericho thing, but they never want to go that far with Jericho. It's like they want to give him so much, and then then they pull him back, and you've got Rob Van Dam ready to go. Let's give him a run. Jim, relax, but test. It's time to start giving him a shot. Booker T deserves more than he's gotten, and I don't know. It's just time to start scaling back on some of the stuff you're doing. It's just not working out anymore. I'm tired of seeing the same guys every week. But let's try some different storylines. I don't know, anything, But it's clear that what the formula they're working with right now really just isn't working, and it's time for an overhaul.
Well, maybe to stick on your Monday night thing, it was a little icing on the cake thing, so to speak, cliche, which I really don't know what the hell that means anyway. The person that came up with that's a moron.
Yeah, I mean, icing, you need that for a cake.
Yeah, but you put the cake in the box. That's the last thing you do with it. What the hell? Anyway, I'd like to rant on the six-man tag. I was going to say three-man tag, six-man tag. Now, granted, back in the early 80s, I believe the NWA had or was it World Class? One of those World Class had the six-man tag match, or the three-man tag title, whatever the hell it was called. My point is, six-man tag matches used to happen to set up new feuds. You have 6 guys in it, maybe 2 tag team wrestlers, 2 other tag team wrestlers, and 2 singles wrestlers. Wow, there's feuds that branch off from that. In months down the line, those feuds happen. Well, the WWF in the past, as long as I can remember, all the point of their 6-man tag matches are just to throw 6 guys out there who are getting big money. Let's throw them on Raw. People want to see them. So the 6-man tag matches have no rhyme or reason whatsoever. This past Monday, we had, I don't even remember the match. It was that exciting. Oh, somebody help me out here.
Test and
Van Dam against Undertaker, Kane, and Chris Jericho. The match meant absolutely nothing. The finish was botched. Not that I can forgive that. But the point is, Taker and Kane are going to be the same place this time next year. Jericho, I would hope, had a world title reign by this time next year. Booker T, you alluded to, Test. Well, you think it's a good idea they're running with the tag titles, I believe. I think you mentioned that earlier in the show. Bad idea in my eyes. Booker T's the #1 heel in WCW. Not that you can say that anymore. And Van Dam's a future star waiting to happen. Putting him in there I can forgive. But use 6-man tag matches to your advantage and just don't screw the fans out of, well, here you go. The end. And by the way, I want to say something to The Rock. I'm going to take my mic off. I'm done.
Wow.
well.
There's old ladies running down the street now. To check out my column this week, it's called Sharpshooter. You can read it on the, you can pick it up in the Daily News or read it on the website at www.dailynewsmckeesport.com. Find the columnist section there. I'll be. And Rennie over there in Studio X.
Studio what?
X.
Okay. Oh my God, it's a whole shot and there's no table to protect me. Okay. If you want to pick up my column, you can do that tomorrow on the newsstands, or you can read it on the web. It's www.triblive.com/sports. That's all from me.
That's all from us. We'll be right back after this. As we alluded to earlier in the show, had the opportunity to go to the IWC show last Saturday night. Not just go there, but we were debuting the wrestler who was going to defend the honor of Pro Wrestling Review. Damn it if he didn't do just that. But a couple other just noteworthy items from the show before we get into that.
Sure. We could start with, really they were wrapping up their heavyweight title tournament. We'll start with the beginning. Jimmy Vegas, I believe it was Boomer Payne you wrestled?
Yeah, sort of.
Right, well, yeah, that's the point. Jimmy Vegas, obviously Boomer Payne tells Jimmy Vegas early in the show, hey, lay down for me, we've been boys since kindergarten.
Yeah.
He did a little better than that, and give credit to Boomer. Jimmy Vegas, who has been improving since, like I said, I missed a lot of shows over the summer. Vegas has really improved, and it seems now his mic work has improved.
Oh, yeah,
And
very good promo.
he cut a really, funny promo, and talking about his garbage pail kids that Boomer once stole from him.
Super Tecmo Bowl.
Tecmo Bowl, right. But they worked that out,
Yeah,
apparently.
yeah.
So actually, Boomer Payne laid down for Jimmy Vegas.
Right.
Jimmy Vegas advanced.
And Orion ended up going on to defeat Crusher Hansen, going on to the finals, which Orion is your new IWC heavyweight champion, defeating none other than Jimmy Vegas.
Jimmy Vegas, right. I think it's one of those things, maybe right now Orion's a little further ahead in the ring. Nothing wrong with Vegas. I think if Vegas would have stayed the face, which he did get to get face heat after the monologue we mentioned.
True.
If he would have stayed the face, I think you go with him as the heavyweight champion, but you're not losing a thing with Orion there.
No. Orion, it's time. It's his time, and so that's. I think it's a good move.
And Jimmy Vegas, he's still getting there and he's still improving. So.
Yeah, absolutely. But we should get into. We're not gonna talk too much about it because we want you to watch for yourself. But once again, Bubba came out and verbally accosted us.
Right, and it was only us there. Rennie and Tom had.
Yeah, actually had work
Elsewhere,
obligations,
right.
and of course Bubba took that and took a couple shots at them for that. But what are you going to do? Stand up in the middle of the crowd and say, "Well, they're at work." Well, they were, and we decided, Jim and I, we were both free that evening, as it was.
Yeah, we attended, and it got interesting.
Yes, it did. We got some interesting comments from the crowd who apparently were chanting Pro Wrestling Review.
Right,
It sounded like
exactly.
boo, wasn't?
Pro Wrestling Review.
Yeah,
That's
it was
what
kinda
it sounded
nice.
like, and I thanked him for it.
Yes, you did.
Yes, you'll see that.
So it turns out that although Bubba seemed to have had the upper hand on us up to this point, things didn't quite turn out in his favor this time. But we're not going to say too much more than that. We want you to watch for yourself, enjoy this footage, and have a Coke or something like that.
Some pizza, maybe.
Yeah. So check this out, and we'll see you next week. This is going to wrap up the show. These last couple segments. So send us an email, let us know what you think, and we'll talk to you next week.
Last show, or 2 shows ago, I called these guys out because they said my match at SmackDown for the World Wrestling Federation sucked. So I said if they thought they could do better, or if they had the cojones to show up, because I had the cojones to show up at their show, more power to them. I took their little TV show, and they came here. But the mistake that you guys made were you got involved in my match. And you know something? I won anyway. So what did you guys say? You guys said that come September 29th in the Emerald Room, we're going to bring a wrestler that is the best wrestler that we know to come and kick my ass. Like I was going to be afraid, like I wasn't going to show up. Well, guess what? There's 2 of you here and me. Where the hell is your wrestler? That's what I want to know. Because if you expected me to not care, and no. Shirley Dunn, the high-stakes champion, is your wrestler. You're going to stand up for what they... Listen, you know that every guy in the back room has donated his time and money to raise money for the United Way, and you're going to come out and show up for these 2 punk-ass... Bubba, how wrong you have me. I want to tell you something. Baba Booey. These 2 people out here. First of all, Bubba, I want to get one thing straight. I have no idea who you are outside the wrestling.
wrestler from this company and the owner, because I do listen to Howard Stern every morning. Shut up! Shut up! Only I'm allowed to listen to Stern. Now, second of all, I'm not out here to help these two goons. First of all, that one looks like Jesus, and everybody knows how much I hate Jesus. Hail Satan! Now, Bubba, the reason why I am here tonight, I am your high-stakes champ, because people, Bubba owns this company. Let me explain the conspiracy to you. I won this belt. He has media here tonight. He has people. Shut up.
What are you, Oliver Stone?
Listen, let me explain the truth to you, and then you can raise your stupid comments when I'm done.
What?
All right, oh, we all watch Raw, whatever. Listen, I am the high-stakes champion, and Bubba does not want a devil worshiper as his high-stakes champion.
God.
Bubba, you have put me in table matches, you put me in light stick matches, you put me in every match I can think of. I battered my body to defend this belt because you won it. You don't want me as your champ. Well, Bubba, the rules of the high-stakes champ say I pick the match. So tonight, it's a regular match. I want you in the middle of this ring. Tonight, Shirley Doe, Bubba the Bulldog. You people might like Bubba, but I swear to Satan I hate him. Tonight, I'm going to hit you with the Shining Wizard 15 times and then silly head you right in the middle of this stinking ring. So get all your people together to cheer you, because tonight, you're done.
Hey, Charlie, nobody has any idea what Shining Wizard is.
Hey, Shirley Doe, you got some of the information right and some of the information wrong, but the most important thing that you got wrong is you're freaking ugly.
Where is that?
The second thing that you got absolutely wrong is you're right. I could give a crap about you being that champion, but you know something? You are stupid enough to defend the title in those matches, weren't you now? But guess what? You put out the challenge.
Where's Laverne?
High stakes championship match. Shirley Doe, Bubba the Bulldog. I just thank God. I thank God that me and you are gonna settle this thing tonight.
Heaven versus hell. I think he should play cards.
Check out those helpers.
5 minutes gone, 5 minutes.
We count that as a tap at Dick's Martin Mental Hospital. Hey, Frank! Shining Wizard! So much for the Shining Wizard, man. Let him in. Oh, you nailed the Shining Wizard. Oh, he's sadistic. He's going to hit him with it one more time.
About a year.
Come on, Bubba.
Hit him one more time, about a year.
Get up.
In a time of 9 minutes, 37 seconds, your winner is still IWC High Stakes Champion, Charlie Doe!
Cut the music, I'm talking here. And I know you're always saying boo, you're saying Pro Wrestling Review. I don't know, Brian. It looks to me like the Pro Wrestling Review boys got a helping hand in this little feud. Hey, Bubba. Bubba, you awake there, buddy? You conscious?
Are you?
How's it feel to get laid out by the best wrestler in Pittsburgh?
Who was that masked
I'll tell you something. Dennis Gregory, he's a better athlete than you, he's a better talker than you, and he's certainly a better wrestler than you.
That's a great one. Nice going.
Superstar!
That's another great one. Somebody get this guy $5. That was incredible. You know, Bubba, it's really unfortunate. I'm sorry, Bubba, are you with us? Can somebody tape this? Because I'm afraid he's unconscious. He's not going to remember any of this. So somebody please tape this. You see, Bubba, it's a shame that the second show in a row it took Pro Wrestling Review to bring something entertaining out of this production. So you're welcomed. You're welcomed. Everybody in this building is welcomed.
You're welcome!
Bubba, and unlike last time, we know that this is going to be the last entertaining thing on this show tonight. So once again, we will leave ourselves October 19th, Monroeville. Our boy already showed up. You got the guts to show up after this? I don't think so.